here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall 2 steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have yet another phenomenal episode on tap for you because the great Coach Reed Maltbie, is on with us right now. Yes, you can't see him, but he's in the green room waiting, clawing, scratching at the monitor, saying, Brian, let me in. I want to help. I want to tell everybody how great it is to be a positive reinforcer and the greatest leadership skills that anyone could ever learn. You're going to learn a lot from Coach Reed. This is an amazing, amazing man. He's a TEDx speaker. There's so much behind this man that has made him so supremely successful. He is transforming his business before our very eyes in a great way. And I cannot wait to share his brilliance with you, because that is what this show is truly all about. The Mind Body Business Show is a show that I literally had developed with you in mind. That is the entrepreneur, the business person, the person looking to take their business to that next level from wherever they happen to be today, by bringing on guest experts, successful entrepreneurs from all over the world, like Coach Reed Maltbie, and so that I can extract their secrets and pull them from them, and they will disperse them to you so you can utilize what they have learned, how they have achieved success, and you can take that shortcut to success by simply modeling what they do. So be sure to get out a pen, get some paper, or bring out your notepad on your computer, whatever works for you, and get ready to take some notes, because we have a great show lined up for you. And that is the Mind Body Business Show. It's about what I call the 3 pillars of success. Over the course of, I would say, a 10-year period, I began studying only successful people, like what made them perhaps more successful than yours truly. What was it about all these successful individuals? What were the key ingredients? And it came out over those years that these 3 things kept bubbling up to the top. Mind being mindset. To a person, each of these very successful business people, entrepreneurs, they all had a very powerful, very positive, and most importantly, very flexible mindset. And then there was body. To a person, each of these individuals took care of themselves, literally, physically, both through nutrition and through exercise. And then business. Business is multifaceted. And what these individuals did was they mastered the various skill sets that are necessary to master in order to build a thriving, successful business. And then to scale it takes even more mastery of additional skill sets. Now, what skill sets are we talking about? We're talking about marketing, sales, systematizing, leadership, team building. It could go on and on and on. And I could talk about those skill sets for a long time. Good news is, well, the bad news is to master anyone of anything can take a very long time. So it'd be darn near impossible to master every skill set that's necessary to develop, build, and scale a thriving business. The good news is if you just mastered just one skill set, and the beautiful thing is that one skill set, not only is it one of the ones I just rattled off, of one of very many that are out there, it's also the focus of Coach Reed Maltbie. Oh, yes. This is going to be great. I cannot wait to dig into his big, beautiful brain. That one skill set, anybody curious? Anybody at all? Is the skill set of leadership. That's right, leadership. And you might be saying, well, Brian, I'm a solopreneur. I don't have a team to lead. That's okay. I didn't either when I first started. I began leading myself. And that's what you can do as well. So start reading, if you haven't already, books on leadership and books on great leaders. Start following what Coach Reed is about to tell us here tonight, and take it to heart and start learning. And then treat yourself as you are a part of your own team. How would you develop that business culture? So it's very doable. If you have a team already, again, read the books on leadership. Learn from someone like Coach Reed how to become a more effective leader. put in the time. That is the number one most valuable skill, in my humble opinion, over all of them when it comes to business. And speaking of successful people, another thing I found out is they are almost every one of them, very avid readers of books. And with that, I'd like to segue very quickly to a little segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yes, you see it there, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. A word of quick caution here, or advice would be a better word, is rather than succumb to that desire to go clicking away and typing in and looking at these resources as we go through this show, because I'll guarantee you, Coach Reed is going to have many for us. Rather than do that, I implore upon you, please, this is for you, not for me. Get out that writing tablet, that piece of paper, that pen, that notepad, and write them down. So reachyourpeaklibrary.com, write that down. That's your first example. Why? Why would I say that? Because here's the thing. I have spoken from stage for years, and there were times in the beginning where I know I'm coming up to what is probably the most profound and juiciest part of the presentation, and I would see somebody get up out of their chair and leave the room, holding their phone, looking at it like they got that all-important text, all-important phone call, or maybe they just had to go use the restroom. The cool thing is, well, it's not the cool thing, but the truth is the magic happens in the room. Yes, this is virtual. We're online. We are live right now on video. If you're not watching live, you should be, but we are also recorded on podcasts. Now, keep your focus on Reed Maltbie, Coach Reed, not on me, but on Reed. When he comes on, you want your focus to be on him. Take notes, go visit these resources afterward, because I would hate for you to take your focus away just for a microsecond when Coach Reed could be saying that one thing that could change your life forever. Please, for yourself, take notes and stay focused and listen very intently, because this information you cannot buy anywhere on the planet. I've done this show for nearly 5 years. I know from doing this from a long time, and I've talked to Reed Maltbie just before the show. This is an amazing man. You do not want to miss a word out of his golden mouth. All right, that's it. That's enough of that. That's my soapbox moment. Reach Your Peak Library is a site, very briefly, that I had put together with you in mind, and that is a library of books that have been vetted by at least one other successful entrepreneur. I myself was not an avid reader for a very long time, not until about 11 years ago, I'd say the age of 47. I know, I paused so you could do the math. And yes, it did change my life. It has changed my life. It continues to change my life. And that is by reading very effective and powerful books. The books in here are not in any order of any kind. You might see a nice clump of Grant Cardone there, because I read a bunch of his all in one fell swoop. And they're just thrown in here as I read them. I had my staff throw them in there. Go get the book. Doesn't have to be from this website. Find one that really resonates with you. Get your book from wherever you like to read them, or you can click the button. It doesn't matter. Either way, get the book, read the book, and then put it into action. That is my advice to you. And that's enough of my yammering, because I really want to bring on this amazing, amazing man named Reed Maltbie. He's coming on right now.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the one, it is the only Coach Reed Maltbie. Woohoo! Yes.
Thank you for the fantastic introduction.
Every word was absolutely true to you, too, for sure. Yes. And I love meeting a guy with an awesome radio voice. Man, it's just buttery. It just makes you melt. And I love it. Thank you for coming on. And thank you, Lord, for giving him such a wonderful voice. This is awesome. Coach Reed, my goodness, I have been stalking you a bit. I mean, when you first basically applied, I guess, to be on the show, you were accepted like that. But I know there was a long lag time, because we are booked out quite in advance. I was so excited because I went and looked at your TEDx talk. I went and listened to and read your materials, your philosophy on leadership. It just resonated so wonderfully with me. And I'm so excited and elated finally I get to share you with the world, or at least the world that is our tribe here. And I can't wait for people that I know personally to see this, to listen to this, because their lives will be changed for the better, or they will just be enhanced further down the positive road of leadership in the way you do it. And I cannot wait. This is going to be awesome. Thank you again for taking your time out there in beautiful sunny San Diego. Look at that sun outside his window. I love it.
Finally.
Oh my goodness. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to get a lot done here. And one of the things I like to start with is, you've been around the block. You've done this. You've been there, done that about the t-shirt. We're going to dig more into your business here as we go on, because it's very pertinent for everyone to hear what Coach Reed is doing and where he's been and where he is now and where he's going, so you can model his success and his patterns. And so one of the things I love to open with is the area surrounding the mind, body, business. We're not going to go through all of them in any particular order, but I love to open with it because the mind and body are a team. And more importantly, the mind and body are your team. I'm talking to everyone individually. And if any one member of the team is not operating at peak performance, as Coach Reed knows better than anybody, the team as a whole suffers. And so mind, I'm curious, when you get up in the morning, Coach Reed, when you get up in the morning, you know that what the day ahead is facing you. As an entrepreneur, everybody thinks it's easy sailing. We just sit back and sway in our hammock and drink umbrella drinks, and the money just comes pouring in, and we don't do anything because we're entrepreneurs. But it's anything but. It's arduous. There are arduous tasks. There are things we have to deal with. There are staff issues. There are client issues. I got to market. I got to sell. I got to build a website. I got to do this. It's a lot. And knowing that that's in front of you every day when you get up, what is going on? The moment you wake up in your big, beautiful brain, what is happening that is keeping you driven, that is keeping you motivated to do this day in and day out and go serve others?
The big one for me is that so many people don't unlock their own excellence. And so I wake up every day thinking today's the opportunity for me to give somebody else a chance to unlock their excellence. When I worked with children, the one thing I always saw was we focused on those one or two really good athletes that you had on your team. And the rest of the kids you didn't really care about because, well, they're not that good. And so you hung everything you had on those two athletes. But what you didn't realize is every one of those kids has a right to unlock their excellence. And if you don't pour into them, they go on in life to do something, and they go on without the tools and resources that you could have given into them as a coach. And so now as a leader of others, I think about that. Like everybody I work with, they have some magic in them. And my job is to help them unlock it. And that's exciting because if I can do that for everybody I meet, how much better would the world be versus just picking one or two people that I decide are the ones that only have the magic?
Right out of the bat, it's out of the park. That's a baseball analogy. I know your soccer background, but that is awesome. Or go! But I so resonate, having grown up, played sports, having coached as a young man. So true. So true. The coach, whether you're on the playing side or the coaching side, tends to gravitate and pay all their attention to the peak performers, the ones that are really carrying the team. And it's interesting that you bring that up, because I remember coaching, and we're talking about Parks and Rec type leagues, nothing serious, but I remember loving to do what you just said, working with those that weren't the best. And isn't it the most gratifying thing in the world to see the vast improvement that these former underachievers were now either average or overachievers because you had something to do with it? Does that make you feel like incredibly good having done that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got the nickname of the Bad News Bears coach because I was that coach. And I hated the term, but they would bring me in with these teams where it was like they were struggling, or they'd had some kind of traumatic experience, and they'd say, Reed, we need you to fix them, or Reed, we need you to work with this group of kids. They need some love. They need somebody like you. And those were my favorite teams because those teams always outperformed because nobody had given them a chance to unlock their magic. And even better, there were kids I worked with in my career who little light bulbs would go off, and that's all I wanted. Just one little light bulb, and it made my year for them. But then I'd see those kids 10 or 15 years later, and what I realized is they left the game and they went on to do something really cool. And the experience they had with me in sport was what helped develop them into whatever it was they became after the game. That's where the real magic is.
Oh, man, so many memories you're bringing up. My dad, he was a coach of all of our sports. He did basketball, baseball, and some youth football and everything. And I never it's still to this day. I mean, he's 87, 80. Yeah, he's 87. He has advanced dementia, unfortunately. But to this day, there'll be people on Facebook posting and goes, your dad was the greatest coach I ever had. I remember this specific one time. And like, isn't it amazing how these little incidents to us, you know, as leaders, as coaches, they may seem meaningless, but they're like sponges. Kids, even young adults, what you say matters. You are the leader. And it's a big responsibility. But even back then, we don't even know it's a responsibility. And then later we're hearing, wow, this is pretty cool. I had a positive impact on someone's life and they remembered. What a great legacy. Yeah. I mean, geez, this is awesome. I mean, this is the essence, in my opinion, this is the true essence of an entrepreneur. I have interviewed hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs from all over the world, successful ones. Not a single one, not one of them was money centric. It was all about serving others. You're no different. You're like you're pegging my meter on that one for sure. And that is because the feeling we get in return for helping someone is so immense and so gratifying. We want more. And it's because we're helping someone else, not necessarily just ourselves.
Yes. And if you're a big reader fan, Simon Sinek's book, The Infinite Game, he talks about that. Like the companies and the entrepreneurs who create a legacy because that they have that just cause and they're out to do something bigger than themselves and change the world or transform people. Those are the ones that last the longest and they leave something behind. And it's not about the money. It's the money will come if you're passionate about it. You do great work and you attract the right people. But if you are on that just cause path, for me, it's that unlocking excellence path, then you are going to change the world. And that is so much more gratifying than putting a few bucks in your account.
Thank you for saying that out loud for others to hear, because it needs to be heard. I remember just recently, I don't even know how it came on my radar, but I do like listening on occasion to a quick video reel of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, they call him. And there was a call in, someone called in, I guess he was on a podcast or a radio show. And the guy said he was struggling. He said, tell me what's going on. He goes, well, all I want to do is just make a little bit more money, make some more money, get that nice house, a nice car. And he goes, there's your problem, bro. He cut him right off. He said, that's the problem. And he did it gently and with love, but also between the eyes, like Gary Vee always does, which is the only way to do it to get the effect. And the guy took it very well. He says, oh, instantly he knew. He didn't have to say another word. Gary Vee just said, that's the problem. And the way he said it, it's like, I get it. So yeah, it's about what, and what do you think about this? How important is it to have a very profound and powerful why that is above and beyond yourself to keep you going every day? What, like a reason to do your job every single day?
I would say, you talk about mindset. For me, that's another big skill that we should have. I agree with you on that one. That resonates. That is part of the mindset. If you've got something that's bigger than you, that's more important than you, that's driving you every day, that's what's going to get you up in those valleys. When you're down in the valley and you're really struggling and you're looking for the peaks, it's that knowing that at the peak is achieving that just cause. And so I think it's invaluable. Now, the problem is a lot of people think, oh, I've got to do something like Tom's shoes and give shoes to other countries or charity water for every bottle sold. I got to what your profound purpose doesn't have to be world changing. It has to change the people that are in your current world and in your sphere of influence. And so if it's profound for you, if it's changing lives around you, chase it, because that you tap into that. And it's, if you've read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, if you tap into that, when you are in the cold water or on the log, it's what's going to keep you there working hard beyond when your body says or your mind says, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. It's that just cause. It's that profound purpose that's going to keep you going.
Oh my goodness. That's the end of our show. No, that's not the end of our show. It could be though. There's enough already here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coach Reed Maltbie. Sorry. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We are coming right back. Hey, if you're watching the Mind Body Business Show live right now, then you will have the ability to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort of your choosing, compliments of the Big Insider Secrets. What is it? It is a 5-night vacation stay to one of many destinations across the world. You can see as we go through this very quickly. There's some in Branson and Daytona Beach. These are in the United States, all over the United States, New Orleans, San Diego. There's also Mexico. There's also the UK. I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on. Australia. At the end of this show, you will be given the ability to enter to win. You must be watching this live. If you're not watching live, then head on over to themindbodybusinessshow.com and register to receive automated notifications when we go live the next time. And you can also participate in this incredible prize. So come on live, and you do not want to miss a moment because of our incredible guest experts. And if you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and connect with great people and grow your business all at the same time, then write this down, carpetbombmarketing.com. Then head on over to it after the conclusion of tonight's show. Carpet Bomb Marketing. Saturate the marketplace with your message. And to get a free lifetime membership to a phenomenal resource called the Reach Your Peak Club, your free membership will include instant access to deep discounts on major software, services, and top shelf training courses that you need to run your successful business. Think of it as your entrepreneur discount house. Catapult your business to the next level. Sign up for free now and get a hotel discount card worth $200 just for joining. Then go and grab your deep discounts. So write this down, and then after the show, once again, head on over to reachyourpeakclub.com. All right, now let's get back to the show. Good Lord, let's get back to the show already. I don't know who that guy was. It just kept rambling on forever, but we are back with the great Coach Reed Maltbie, TEDx speaker extraordinaire, unbelievable coach, and also businessman. And we are having a great time. We're going to dive deeper into his big, beautiful brain starting right now. So in sports, it's very important for one to stay fit, especially the ones that are on the team. I would argue it's also important for the coach. And now we're talking business, about business, building a business. When it comes to business, in your opinion, Coach Reed, what is the level of importance that you place on staying in shape physically to run and operate one's own business, in addition to coaching the other clients that you also work with? Is it as equally important? Is it not important? What's your take?
It's baked into my ethos. I mean, it is part of my mission, especially when I look at the way I'm now working with what I call athletes, those entrepreneurial athletes, people who are either athletes that are now entrepreneurs, they're in the sport business, so they're sport entrepreneurs, or they're those entrepreneurs who use they embody the athletic traits and values within their business, and they still compete on the side. So for me, I'm still competing in things. I'm working out with my kids. For me, the fitness matters because one, I got to walk the walk and talk the talk at the same time. When I played, I got out and played with my kids because I wanted them to see that I was willing to do the work with them. And it also allowed me to, it allowed me to stay in the game with them. It's hard to coach from the sidelines. It's so much easier to be in the mix with them. Now in business, for me to stay fit, being fit keeps my mind fit. Having a fit body means I can show up 100%. I'm less sick all the time. I feel more energy, and I have more pep in my step every day because I'm fit and in shape. When I make better choices from a fitness perspective, it clears the deck for me to make great choices as a business owner as well. And then, like I said, a lot of my clients are those solopreneurs who are doing everything. They need high energy. They need that competitive mindset. They need to think and act like a Spartan. And so fitness makes a big difference in their lifestyle as well.
Glad you brought up the Spartan. You know what? It's time we introduce you formally and officially to the show. Leveraging 2 master's degrees, sports psychology and early childhood development, 2 master's degrees, ladies and gentlemen, and 30 years of professional coaching experience. Coach Reed Maltbie has dedicated his life to creating the most effective environments for achieving peak performance. I love that phrase. His passion for coaching methodologies, mental fitness, and high-performance communication is matched by his mission of developing leaders who transform lives. His newly released book, The Spartan Mindset focuses significantly on the impact of language and performance, and it is a must read for anyone who strives to be a more effective and supportive communicator in the sporting world and beyond. And Coach Reed, a little birdie told me something, maybe that book became a bestseller. Is that true?
It is in 5 countries.
I love it. Do you have it handy? Would you like to hold it up and say a few words about it?
I always have it handy. It's also on the wall behind me, if you can see.
There we go. I love it.
But yeah. I've got it right there.
Yes. So what is the book about? What are the highlights? What are you're doing something with it right now? I found very profound. We were talking about just before we came on. I'd love to hear all that.
Yes. So the book is about the language that we use and how it impacts our brain. And there's a huge brain-body connection when it comes to performance, especially in sporting realms, but also as an entrepreneur or in other competitive environments. If our brain isn't firing in all cylinders, then we're not going to perform well. You talk about the choke points with mindset. The other one is that skill really is, if you're a fan of Daniel Coyle's, you know that skill happens in the brain. So any skills that we're developing as a performer, they are actually developing in the brain pathways and those neural pathways with, the firing of the neurons. And so our language impacts our brain in a way that it actually affects the way we perform. The book itself is based off of what I use are peril words and power words. Those peril words are words that we use in performance situations that might actually choke off performance, stop our performance, not help us achieve peak performance. Power words are those words that we use when we that actually would help with a better peak performance in high stress crucible situations. And then I also threw in some extra words that those are transformational words. Those are those words that not only do they actually help with peak performance, but they transform the people in the moment. And each chapter starts with a story, so you can see the word used in real life. I talk about the science behind it, what it's doing to the brain-body connection, and what we're thinking and feeling when we're using these words in context. And then I teach you either how to eliminate that word from your vocabulary or how to use it more often so you can achieve peak performance.
So absolutely true about language. I mean, there are little things. I'm NLP certified, neuro-linguistic programming. That's what I used to teach from stage when I was the lead trainer for my mentor in the seminar industry. And it's so powerful. You are so true. You're so right. We would say things like, oh, you know what? I have to go do the dishes now. Like, well, hold on a second. Let's rephrase that and say, I get to do the dishes now. Your subconscious just did a somersault, said, wait, what? And then it started thinking about, and unbeknownst to you, because you just said it out loud, that, well, hey, if I get to do the dishes, that means I have dishes to do. And I own dishes. If I'm doing the dishes, that means we probably just ate food on those dishes. If I'm doing the dishes, there's probably a sink. There's a sink, there's a house. There's a lot of blessing as a result of getting to do the dishes versus having to. So it's like reframing quickly and changing your words you use both internally and externally. Self-talk is self-talk. Can it be damaging if you don't say it out loud, Coach Reed?
It still can, because the brain can't delineate between what's spoken to you and what's said with your mind. It's still a word that crosses through the brain. It still has an impact on the structures of the brain. And so if you're using internal language, if you're thinking negative thoughts, those are impacting the brain. It's just as bad as if you have a chronic verbal abuser walking around screaming at you. You're your own worst enemy. You're your own worst abuser if you have bad internal self-talk.
And so if someone picks up your book, The Spartan Mindset, could they effectively become a more powerful leader of their own organization, whether it be sports and coaching, whether it be business and they are the CEO or even just a manager? Can their language change the outcome of their current situation?
Yes. I've gotten feedback from coaches and from entrepreneurs that said, I'm more mindful of how I speak. I'm more intentional with my language. I think things through. I hear things as they're coming out. And what they're doing is not only are they speaking differently to themselves and the people around them, which is creating these higher performance environments, but they're also being an accountability partner for those other people. They're holding other people accountable for better language. Like you said, if I had one person say, I had an employee that always said, I can't do that. And I said to him, remember, can't is we're going to switch that. What if you could do that? Can't yet. I'm going to work with you and we're going to learn it. Or one of my chapters is can't in our household always meant challenge accepted, no takebacks. I can't do that. Challenge accepted, no takebacks. Now we're going to work together and do it.
It sounds like a fun household to grow up in. That is awesome. And your kids are, you have more than one kid?
I have 3, all grown.
I
Yes.
know you had one because I saw them walk by the window earlier, so that was cool. But they are blessed to have been brought up in a household of a man who took this stuff serious. Because were you born with this? Did you know this by just being born and coming into existence in the world, that your words were that powerful?
No, it's like Newton said, I can see so far because I stood on the shoulders of giants. I had great mentors. I had great teachers and educators. And I was, like you talked about, I just absorbed everything I could. And as I was, having a master's in sport and performance psychology, I was, and working in childhood development, I was a big fan of watching people as I worked with them. We were talking about when you do public speaking and you're in person versus on video, you can read people, you can feel the emotion in the room. Well, when I coached, I was always constantly reading and taking temperature of what was happening with my athletes. And that's where I started to understand that certain words I used created different outcomes, and it created emotional responses in my athletes. And so I really started to become more mindful of how I spoke to them, because I realized that they were internalizing everything. What we say to them becomes their internal dialogue. And so the words we use actually change how they think about themselves. So it was learned. It was definitely learned.
And that's why I know your family's blessed, because you put in the time and effort. It didn't just happen overnight. This stuff takes time. It takes practice, just like sports. It takes developing. It takes refining. It takes, okay, that didn't work so great. Let me try a different tact. And so they are blessed, and we are blessed, because now we get to talk to you, and you get to help tell all of us the beautiful power in words. And yes, there is a negative power in words, but we're going to call it beautiful, because that's what everyone is going to do from now on after they get the Spartan Mindset book. Where can they get that? Is that going to be on Amazon? Where can they get this book?
You can get it any of your favorite retailers. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble, bookshop.org, Target. You can find it at all the major retailers.
International best-selling author, ladies and gentlemen. And he didn't pay a PR firm to do all this. I mean, it was pretty amazing, the story behind it. In fact, I would like to touch on that, if that's okay with you, because my ears got big when you told me this before we came on the air was, how did you get that to be an international bestseller? And you told me your strategy that did it, that worked. And I would love for you to share that with everyone else, because this is marketing genius, ladies and gentlemen. So what he did was, go ahead, take it away.
Well, I didn't have a lot of money to spend on the marketing, so I didn't hire anybody to do it. I realized that the best way to do it was to be on as many podcasts and shows as I could. So I did 40-something podcasts and shows, and from January, it was like mid-January. So from mid-January to when it came out in April, so 3-4 months, just constantly on shows. And I was reaching as many audiences as I could with the message. But the big key is talking about the book and getting people excited about it. And they were hearing from my voice. It was my voice. It wasn't an ad. It wasn't somebody else saying it for me. So they were actually giving them feedback on the voice. And I think that's really what did it.
So there it is. I used to have a little microphone here for a prop. That's a mic drop moment. That is what you do. And look, it didn't cost him an arm and a leg. It cost him his time, nothing more. It cost him time of outreach to get on other podcasts. And these were global. These were international. That's how he became international best-selling. How many countries?
5. It was on bestseller lists in 5 countries.
Do you know how many authors would die just to get one country to be a bestseller? It's like, it
was a good feeling.
Yeah.
And the big key is, and you know this, especially as entrepreneurs, as business people, as we all know, you've got to over deliver on value. And so when I went on these podcasts, that was the other thing I was doing, was I was talking to the podcasts. I was talking to the hosts and saying, what do you want from me? What value can I bring to the table? And then whatever questions they asked, I didn't hold back. It wasn't that, well, I'm not going to tell you everything because I want you to read the book. I'll tell you everything that's in the book, because if you love it that much, you're going to want to buy it, because you're going to want to read it and write notes in the margin anyway. So if you're looking to do that, get the message out to as many people as possible. Reach as many audiences. You just don't know who it's going to resonate with, and over deliver. Give as much as you can to people, because that over delivering is what's going to make them want to be a part of your journey with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if that is not a bomb dropping moment, I do not know what is. Yes, over deliver. Smart bombs, bombs of knowledge, bombs of wisdom. That epitomizes Coach Reed Maltbie. Oh my goodness. over deliver. How often, it seems like we fell off track about 5 years ago or so, where that was not happening, where they were, most people were doing the bare minimum, and they would sell, like in the seminar industry. I saw this over and over. They'd sell from stage, and they would charge a lot of money, and I'd take it home, open it up, listen to it, and it was garbage. And I'm like, that was it. And that there was no time for them to deliver anything up front. They had a 90 minutes period on a stage. They couldn't, they offered nothing but this course. And I'm not talking about everybody, but it's come back. I'm sensing it coming back full circle, where delivery of extreme value upfront without charging for extreme value is what is working today. Are you noticing that?
Yes. And I get that response from people. People say, well, you don't want to give away too much. You'll give everything you have away. And I'm like, no, we're all on a learning journey. If you're a real athlete, if you're a real competitor, you're constantly growing and learning. So if I give everything of myself, tomorrow I'm going to learn something new, and I'll have something new to give. And the other thing is if I'm not showing up with full excellence, what's going to make people want to be on the journey with me? What's going to make somebody want to say, I want to be a part of this. I don't care if he gives everything away. I want to be a part of this guy's journey.
And, the thing I love is you live every word you're breathing right now. I mean, you've done a TEDx talk. It was a brilliant talk. I love how you brought your son into the mix in the very beginning. That was phenomenal. I've literally witnessed that happen. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. I was a young college dude working a job in Parks and Rec at a park. I loved kids and I loved coaching because I love sports. So I was coaching my team on one side of the court, half court, outdoor asphalt. This is in Seal Beach, not far from you. And I was coaching my team and having a blast. And then there was an adult, a grown, like 40 something man coaching his team. And all I could hear over anything we were doing was him yelling at his kids, berating them, telling them how they're not doing well. And I'm thinking, my God, I got, just like you're talking, you got the studs and then you got the underperformers. And I didn't care. If they put in the effort, if I coached them and I said, do it this way, and they tried their best to do it that way, and they still missed, they didn't put it in the hoop, I didn't get on them. I said, great job. You put in everything you had. You gave the effort. You're coachable. It will come. And I pat them on the back, and they love it. And they would improve so fast. And that was just a natural way I just started coaching. But when I saw this guy yelling, I'm like, those poor kids. And then the way you opened that TEDx talk, that was it's so real. I've seen it. It happens. And it's like, it's shameful is what it is, especially when they're kids.
It's horrible. And what you couldn't see or what you couldn't hear was in the actual live talk, there were several gasps in the crowd when I did that. And then when I get done, I look all the members of the crowd in the eye, and you could see these people were emotionally wrought with what I'd just done until they realized it was a gimmick, Yeah.
It worked. And what a way to get the attention of the crowd. I mean, perfect. And it was authentic. It was legitimate. It wasn't just a gimmick, right? To get them to, hey, who is this Coach Reed guy? He's pretty good.
Yeah.
But it worked. It got my attention. And I just felt a very authentic nature in the entire talk. In fact, we're talking a lot about it. What I want to do is segue into what you do. What is it you're doing now? You coach coaches. You help them develop leadership styles, as I understand it, and you can correct me at any time. And you are now also venturing into the athletes side of the turnstile, or the aisle, I guess is what they'd call it. So if you wouldn't mind, briefly describe what it is you do today, who your target market or markets is or are, and I would love to hear it if you have a success story or two that you would like to share. And while you do that, I'll pull up your website and let you take it away.
Sure. So my original target market was sports. I started coaching when I was 16. And then I got into that sphere where I was actually a consultant working with organizations all the way up through the Olympic organizations, down through Parks and Rec organizations, AYSO and Say Soccer, and high schools, any organization that felt like they needed, one, performance enhancement work with their youth athletes. So they want somebody to come in and talk to their athletes about communication patterns and leadership development and culture building. And two, I really became that one that worked with those coaches. We wanted to eliminate the abusive coaching, and we wanted to give coaches the tools that they could use to build these high performance environments, no matter what kind of athlete they were working with. The idea was that we want you to build these high performance environments so that kids can leave the game and go be excellent somewhere else in life. And so to do that, we had to give them the right kind of tools. Well, in recent years, what I discovered was that a lot of entrepreneurs and businesses started to resonate with my message, because the three things I focused on were learning, language, and leadership. It's, are you creating transferable learning that transfers to every opportunity in front of you? Are you using transcendent language that transcends every moment you're in? And then are you performing, or are you bringing transformational leadership to the equation that transforms the people you work with? Well, entrepreneurs do that. Businesses do that. That's what they want. They want high performers in their sales team. They want high performers in their marketing team. They want high performers at their companies. And so they started working with me and hiring me and having me come in and doing workshops with them. So now I work in this space that I call the athlete space. And it's that concept of those people that are either athletic entrepreneurs, they're athletes who are now entrepreneurs. They're entrepreneurs who have been entrepreneurs in the business of sport for years, like I was when I was coaching and running clubs. I was a sport entrepreneur. They are those entrepreneurs who embody that athletic mentality and want that athletic mentality to show up in their business, but they're not sure how to do it because those two worlds have never really merged. There's a confluence that should happen there and it hasn't. Or they're those influencers who use their content to influence people to buy products based on their athleticism or fitness. And so those athletes now are attracted. I was just with some a couple months ago, and they were talking about how excited they are to work with me because I get them. I've been there. You're discounted because you're an athlete, so you only bring a certain skill set to the table. Or, well, you're a dumb jock. Can you really go into business? Business is not the place where athletics should happen, or you've got to make a choice. You can't compete in CrossFit games and run a business. And the one guy I talked to, he says, that's what I do. He runs a business doing investment and teaching others how to do investments. And he's a CrossFit competitor. And he's like, you get me. I said, yeah, you're an athlete. That's what I was my entire life. And so now I'm working a lot more with athletes and entrepreneurs, helping them embody the same traits and values that we used in sport that made us successful to achieve that unrivaled peak performance in their business and beyond into their lives.
I love it. I love it all. I mean, like I was telling you before when we even came on live, that I resonate so much with your philosophy, your approach. I mean, I have a team of VAs that I work with, and I tell them from the get-go, I said, you don't work for me, you work with me. I will never say you work for me. And we are a team. I share with them things that are going on in my head about my business that normal CEOs and managers would never. They would be in fear to say, I'm not going to tell them what we're planning. I'm like, why wouldn't you? It helps to bring them, and they feel part of the ride, the journey, and they want to be part of it. They want to work with people like that. I just pulled from examples. I came from the corporate world. I saw both sides of the fence. I saw an adult manager berating an adult employee older than he was in front of all of his peers at a meeting that was designed to gather everybody. And he used that opportunity to just tear into this guy. And this manager was a friend of mine, and I was shocked. I'm like, what are you, in my head? I didn't say anything. I'm like, whoa, that was bad. And then I've worked with other managers who lift you up, who have fun with you, who kid with you, who, yeah, you got a job to do. Of course, there is a time to be serious, but in my philosophy is it's very rare. And I tell my kids that all the time, have fun in life. There's times to be serious. There's funerals, there's weddings, there's things where you want to, dial back the humor and all that. But there are also very few times where you should be serious. You should just enjoy yourself. But I resonate. You seem to have that type of approach. I was just looking at the thumbnail of your video where you're standing there berating your son in that little skit in the beginning. And that was so cool. What was that experience like, stepping out on a TEDx stage? I see that was in Cincinnati, Ohio. But what was that like for you? What was that experience like to step out there? You did it masterfully. You looked comfortable. You looked natural. Were you shaking in your boots? I mean, how did that go?
Oh, it was backstage right before I went on. It was like you're in the tunnel before you go out on the field before a game. I mean, the jitters are there. You feel like you want to puke. You're shaking. The stomach is turning. It's all the adrenaline is rushing through you. But again, I approached it like a competition. I have an opportunity to go out there and do my very best with the tools I have. And more importantly, that was my passion. My wife talked me into doing that because she said, you need to share with the world what you've been telling me. And yeah, it was a skit, and I joke and say it's a gimmick, but I had witnessed coaches do that to kids like you had. And I needed to tell the world there was a better way. There was a different way. And we can get the same results doing it that different way as you do it screaming at people, but minus the long-term damage you cause when you scream at people. So for me, it was life-changing because I went from talking about it within my community and my clubs and the people around me to suddenly I have an opportunity at an international stage to teach others how to do that. And you asked about victories. That was one of my biggest wins was when I did the talk and it was over. My wife said, awesome. Oh, by the way, thanks to Carmine Gallo, I read his book, Talk Like Ted, before I gave the talk and I reached out to Carmine. I'm actually supposed to connect up with him here in a couple of weeks, but I reached out to Carmine after my talk and said, I hope you get the chance to watch this because it is your book. Your book is the blueprint for my talk. And he emailed me back after watching and goes, it is dead on my book. Like I took every piece of advice in his book and I incorporated it into my talk. But anyway, I digress. So my wife says after the talk, she goes, it was great. Now, what do you expect from it? And I said, listen, if just one of those coaches that I had witnessed in my career berate kids or compare them to each other or fear monger to achieve peak performance, if just one of those coaches sees that there's a different way to do it and do it and changes, then the talk was worth it. And it took several years, but several years later, I got a text message from a coach who basically said, I'm working on the way I communicate with my kids. And I went, we won. Like that is, and so what, instead of stopping at the top of that mountain and going, I'm here, I'm going to plant my flag. I said, all right, another mountain. There are more coaches. There are more organizations. There are more sports that I don't touch. And now there are more entrepreneurs and there are more businesses who we can help create these leaders who transform lives. And so I'm just never going to stop now.
Oh, I got goosebumps all over when you gave that. Oh my gosh, because you made that impact in one coach's life, and that's going to in turn, and probably already has, affect many more lives, everyone that he coaches. And they're going to look at that as their example. And when they become a coach, if they ever do, or they lead any type of organization, they will think back to that effective method versus being yelled at and the other methods that are out there. So yeah, and people don't realize, entrepreneurs were like, I don't even know if anybody's ever going to watch this show. I have no idea if this will have any impact on anybody, but I should just stop. I don't know why I keep going, all these things go on in our head. And then one day you get that one message. Wow, what a great show. That guest, that Coach Reed, he was incredible. And that I am over the moon excited that I had some little part to do with it. It was because of this guy, but because I had a platform, more people were affected positively. It doesn't have to be you personally. I'm preaching now to everyone out there. It doesn't have to be you doing everything. It's called planting seeds and letting them grow and allowing that whatever organically to come out of it, because you bring on incredible people like Coach Reed and you do it consistently, or you talk to people like Coach Reed. You don't have to do a show, but as long as you're associating with people like this, then you can and will reap great rewards. And we're not talking financial rewards. Those will come, but we're talking human rewards in the form of you are making this planet a better place for other humans to live. Woo, yeah. Man, I feel like I just got off of a pulpit and everyone say amen. No, I'm kidding.
Goosebumps. I got goosebumps too. I mean, you have to deliver. You have to show up and compete at all times. And like you said, I did a talk one time. There were 3 people in the room and the organizers apologized. There's supposed to be 100 there. The organizer says, I'm so sorry. Do you want to cancel? I said, no, those 3 people are going to get the talk of their life because just one of them may go away and do something with it. And you know what? You could only have 3 people watching your podcast right now. If you're out there watching or listening now, you could have a podcast and only 3 people, but those 3 people matter. Deliver to them, show up, because you just don't know. Like you said, plant those seeds and let them grow.
Boy, I can relate to having 3 people in the room too.
Me too.
And it's true. I mean, I would do these meetups and I would go 4 different cities, one every week, every month, the same 4. And I'd bring gear, I'd bring presentation, I'd bring microphone, I'd bring everything, set it up, bring sign-up forms, all this stuff. And I had the same exact attitude. I would like to have more, but if only one showed up, they're getting the full blown. And if nobody showed up, I'll just do it in practice. just well. It's just like anything else. The more seat time, we call it seat time, like a race car. The more seat time you have, the better you're going to get. Period. Have whoever who came with you. Hopefully, you have somebody helping out, and just say, "Hey, I want you to give me feedback. I'm going to do it as if you're that one person." So there's never and that's the other thing I always say, Coach Reed. And I don't know what your take is on this, but if I'm ever asked to speak somewhere, that has to be a big reason for me to say no. I mean,
I'm with you.
always take that opportunity. I was asked by a young man who was, God, I don't know if he was 20 yet, and he wanted me to talk to his very young group of people. They weren't in my space business wise, but he saw something and he asked me to talk about a certain topic. You got it. I speak. So it's not about building business every time you turn around. It's about building up people. And that's the beautiful essence of, I think, why we're all here on this planet.
Yes. And you just don't know who in that room is going to go do something amazing because of that day, that time you spent with them, or how it comes back to you. That young person in that room could be the next Elon Musk, and he reaches out to you, 10 years from now and says, "Hey, I got this idea and I need you involved in it." If that's the payoff, great. But more importantly, they went and changed the world because you spent time with them.
Yeah. And just like in the opening, you want to focus when you're listening to someone like Coach Reed on a show like this. Focus on his words instead of going off and multitasking and typing in things. You never know when that one thing will strike you and you'll go, I get it now. And that will take you on to the next step in your journey. It's never the final step. It's just the next. That's what I love about life. Reed, is, if there was ever a last step in life, other than death, of course, but if there was a last step and we couldn't grow any farther, reach a new height, would that be a boring life or what?
Totally boring. That's why I use the term excellence more than anything, because for me, excellence is just something that's it's never final. Every day there's an opportunity to be more excellent. Every day there's an opportunity to hone it and shape it and craft it. So you just never get good enough to say I'm perfect. There's no such thing. Excellence is something you can chase every single day.
Absolutely. So folks that would like to work with you or get your tutelage, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you? Is it your website? Is it an email address? What do you prefer?
Website's the easiest, coachreed.com. And my email, they can email info@coachreed.com and I'll answer that as well. I'm on that email.
All right. That's coachreed.com, CoachReed.com, just in case. For those of you listening on podcast only. And if you're listening on podcast and can't make it to the live shows, okay, I'll let you have that one. But you should come on live because we love interaction and getting comments from those watching and viewing. Yeah, like Trailblazer in the Wind just said, keep showing up, planting seeds. Pride, flower, pansexual, just never know. Global life empowerment coach. I don't even know what half those words mean. That's awesome. And it is. Just keep planting seeds. Keep moving forward. And great that you're empowering people. Trailblazer in the Wind from YouTube. Thanks for coming on and participating. We love that for sure. Oh my goodness. We started something. Oh, there. I thought there was another one. So, my gosh, this happens every time when I have one of those guests that so are you good to go another hour?
Yeah. Let's do this.
As we both adjust in our seats. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm kidding. I want to respect not only your time, but all the viewers and the listeners out there as well. And definitely we'll have to have a encore performance because there's so much more I'd love to learn from you. So much more. The book, marketing approach at a greater detail, the TEDx talk, how did you even get on that? Things like that. Because these are keys to success in business. And that's what you're doing. This is a business for you. You coach, you teach and lead coaches on how to better and more effectively coach their team, whether it be sports or business, maybe even family. I don't know. Do you ever get into that?
I do. I actually just did a family summit a couple of weeks ago where I worked with mothers and fathers and how to show up more. I talked about goal setting and how to show up more authentically with their kids each day using sports analogies, which was really cool. And the other really cool thing is I was with this branding group a couple of weeks ago at Kajabi Hero Live. So you're with some really intelligent, really sharp people at the Kajabi summits. And, Brendan Burchard was there and Jamie Kern-Lima was there. And I'm talking with this branding group and they made a comment. They're like, so you're a legitimate coach. And I said, yeah. And they said, like, you coached youth sports for now it's almost 35 years. And I said, yeah, I started when I was 16. And they said, wow, that is so cool, because most people aren't like they haven't actually coached something. They're like, you can actually coach somebody in their business as a legitimate youth sports coach. And I said, yeah, the worst part is I was like Ted Lasso. I mean, every time we watch Ted Lasso, somebody reaches out and goes, cracks me up because you were just like me. You had all your dad jokes, and you're always silly, and you're always, and you were always Mr. Positivity, and everything was positive with you. And I said, well, I mean, imagine having Ted Lasso help you with your business. I mean, you can't get better than that.
Yeah. Is it so? Gosh, I could talk to you forever. I mean, how many times have you had somebody come to you and say, you're too positive. It's too much. I don't want any more of it. Like a family member or anybody like that. It's happened to me. That's why I bring it up. I don't know if it's happened to you. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
I have. I've been told to tone it down just a little bit. The other one is my wife is very outgoing. She's I call her effervescent. And she said growing up, she was always told to tamp it down. And I told her, that's your superpower. It's what attracted me to you. It's what makes you so special. It's what makes you unique. If somebody doesn't, and I get it, the Ted Lasso type doesn't resonate with people. There were athletes and there were parents of athletes who didn't like my style. That's fine. You're not going to be everybody's style. Not everybody drinks Coke or Diet Coke or Pepsi. I don't, it just depends on the people. So for me, I'm going to show up exactly as I am, because the people who resonate with me, that's how they want me to be. And that's what's going to help them be their best. And I'm not for everybody. I get it. I'm an acquired taste, but the people that like that, they're going to show up more often.
And that's a huge lesson in its own right. You can never and will never please everybody. So stop trying to. Just be yourself. And those that are in alignment with you, they will show up. It just happens that way. And there might be someone else who does exactly what Coach Reed does as a business, and they may choose to go to that other person only because there's a better alignment with them, personality-wise, whatever the case may be. It's going to happen. Don't worry about it. Just keep moving and keep stacking those pebbles of success, and things will implant those seeds, and things will get better much faster. If you just relax, don't try to please everybody, be yourself, be authentic to yourself, and you will attract those that are the right ones for sure. We're a couple minutes out, and I can't believe it. This is it's almost saddening to me that we're there. Yes.
It flew by, and this was such a great conversation, Brian. So I'm kind of bummed too.
Right back at you. I mean, my goodness. But there are a couple gifts to give away. I did promise one in that very long ad spot that was in the beginning of the show. And a little birdie told me Coach Reed might have a little something for you as well. So let's do yours first, if that's okay. I'll bring up your website and help people navigate there. But go ahead.
Yes, if you go to coachreed.com, CoachReed.com, you can see that pink banner right at the top there. I put up a link to my Sleek bio, which the very first thing is you can click it to download a free ebook copy of the Spartan Mindset. And I'll leave that up for everybody that's on the live show. Heck, I might even just leave it up for right now, because my thought is, listen, you've got to read the book. And I want you to read the book. And so if you go and get the free ebook, read it and share it with other people and use it in your daily life. Because if it works for you, I'm telling you, it can transform your life. It's stuff that I learned from my mentors and my coaches. Go get the book, read it.
Definitely. Everyone, do it. Coach has spoken, or it's going to be 20 push-ups. So do it now. All right. Grab the free ebook copy of the Spartan Mindset here, the pink banner at the top of CoachReed.com. That is where you go. So make sure you write that down, coachreed.com. Right after the show is over, go visit that and grab your copy, and definitely reach out to Coach Reed directly if you are at all looking for any assistance in any type of leadership area. I think what he does bridges all of them as far as leading, whether it's in business, sports, family. He's run the gamut. He's got the experience. He's been a coach. Not like those who say that they are one and they've only done it for a few months. And he's done it for 30 plus years, 35, I think you said. That's a good stint, good run for coaching. It's so rewarding, whether you're winning or losing. The kids are always winning because they're getting a great tutelage from someone like you. And that's what it's about. It's about life, not just about winning and participation trophies. Oh, I had to throw that in there. So Hey, I just saw another one of your.
Somebody just went by.
Yeah, that's cool. We know it's live. That's awesome. So I have one more gift to give away, so don't go anywhere. There's one more gift. It's very incredibly valuable. It's a 5-night vacation stay at a 5-star luxury resort. Again, compliments of Reach Your Peak LLC. And we're going to give that away to one lucky winner. Don't go anywhere, because before we do that, well, no, not before. I do have one question I like to end every show with, Coach Reed. And it kind of came out by accident. I asked it on occasion back when I first started doing this show almost 5 years ago, and the answers were starting to hit me like, wow, that was profound. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to just make this the end of every show, and I'm going to ask that one question, because they are supremely powerful. Not the question, but the answers that I've been getting over those years. And I can't wait to spring that one on you. But I will first put up on the screen, for those of you that are here watching live, how to win that 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort, compliments of Reach Your Peak. And here we go. Remember, write this down. Don't go there yet. And I will say this, that guest experts, hint, hint, wink, wink, are eligible to win as well. I have had some. And so here we go. We're going to put it up on the screen. Write this URL down. To enter, you'll go to ryp.im/vacation, all lowercase, RYP, that stands for Reach Your Peak. That happens to be my company, ryp.im/vacation. After the show's over, we'll be monitoring. Don't worry. Wait till we sign off. Go there, enter to win. I personally and my team, we get messages. I get text messages instantly as people are entering. It's pretty fun to have the phone buzzing off the hook. And so go to ryp.im/vacation, enter to win. These are bona fide, no kidding, real vacation stays. I have a good friend that went and did this no less than 3 times, and they did not, to my amazement, they never took him down to the basement and gave him a water torture treatment, along with trying to sell him a timeshare. None of that happened. Nope. It was just a vacation like he was anyone else. And it just happened to be that it was predominantly paid for. All you pay are the resort taxes, which is, everyone does that now. And you need to get your travel to and from. But the resort, these are 5-star luxury resorts you get to choose from all over the world. All right. With that buildup, though, so here's the cool thing. Mr. Maltbie. Ooh, I mixed it up. I didn't call you Coach Reed. It's getting serious. So there's a couple of cool things about this question. The first is there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It doesn't exist. So this is not a test. You cannot fail. In fact, the only thing you will do is pass. It's guaranteed. Because number 2, the opposite is actually the true case here, and that is the only correct answer is yours, because it will be unique to you. And so it makes it uniquely personal that way, but it's not getting into your knickers kind of personal. It's just you. And so with all that buildup, are you ready for the question?
I am nervous, but ready.
I love it. Then it was effective. The buildup was. That's good. All right. Here we go. Coach Reed Maltbie, how do you define success?
Oh, that's such a good one. For me, it's that there's something left when I'm gone, that somebody uses a phrase or teaches or coaches in a way I did, that my children pass along my words or my deeds to their grandchildren, that there is something, a legacy when I'm gone. It's the only way I can define it, because you can't take the money with you. You can't take the cars with you. You know, the only thing you can do is leave a legacy, leave an imprint on this world, and it's a better place because you were there.
And you know how that's going to end, don't you? Yes. This has been Coach Reed Maltbie, dropping smart bombs, bombs of wisdom, knowledge bombs, all here on the Mind Body Business Show. What an amazing, amazing man you are. I appreciate you for everything that you do. I cannot wait to see how you progress in this journey and continue to change lives. And I hope that you don't hesitate and reach out if there's anything you ever think I can do to help you to do that, to reach more people. I love what you're doing. I love the message. I love how it's empowering kids to be the best they can be, to rise to their greatest excellence at all times. That's all we can do, is just, strive for excellence. But with people like you giving us the tools to actually do that, to get closer, to become more excellent, that's what it's all about. And I appreciate what you do. And please don't ever stop. If that's what drives you, then continue. And I got to say one last thing. Your wife is amazing. You've talked about her 3 times on this show, and I appreciate that too. That means you are a wonderful man who admits that the wife is part of your life. And you even did it on your TEDx talk. I love that. And you put in some humor on that, where you said, well, she told me
She's
that
always
she was right. But she's sitting right there. So I had to say that. That was awesome. But I could tell you meant it. And I can tell, especially after talking to you here tonight. So I appreciate you, brother. Is there any last parting word of wisdom you'd like to leave all of our guests with, or all of our audience with here tonight?
Yes. So I've been saying this a lot lately because I believe that every word matters. That when you speak loudly, people will hear you. When you speak knowledgeably, people will listen. But if you speak lovingly, they will follow. We have to speak with more love in our lives.
Amen to that, brother. Woo! Great way to end it. On behalf of the amazing Coach Reed Maltbie, I am your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. Until next time, we will be back with another great episode. It's going to be hard to top this one, I got to be honest, but we will do our best, because this man is amazing. Thank you once again, Coach Reed. You're an amazing man, and I look forward to crossing paths with you physically sometime soon, and sitting down and having whatever beverage we both would like, coffee, water, it doesn't matter to me. It's all about the relationship. So have a great evening, everyone. Do 2 things. Please do 2 things, everybody out there. Number 1, go out there and serve more people and crush it in life. And number 2, above all, everyone, please be blessed. Take care. That's it for us tonight. So long for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.